Stay tuned for Live at 5, featuring the Liberated Muse. I'm Askia Muhammad. Thank you for listening.
Liberated Muse, Liberated Muse, Liberated Muse, Liberated Muse.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to WPFW 89.3 FM. This is Live at 5. And I'm your host, Franco Agbro, filling in for Katia Stitt.
Liberated Muse, Liberated.
Everyone's getting ready for Halloween, right? Before we get into all that craziness of Halloween tomorrow, we're going to have some reflection music. Reflection music before we get the craziness. And this is Monday, the beginning of the week. What a better time to do it. My guest this evening is Liberated Muse. Play a song and we'll have a conversation.
When I think about all the great things that we done, it makes me feel like we are unstoppable. We were once considered livestock, now the whole world rocks what we got. From slavery to free, from marching to liberty. And then I think about the struggle, the constant shuffle, the subprime loans and broken homes, economy push, a lion bush, the spread of AIDS and the slavery trade, crack babies crying and our leaders dying, false prophets lying, racial profiling, separate nation, gentrification, high illiteracy from bad education, the pimps and hoes and they turning tricks, Hurricane Katrina and Jenna 6, single mothers and brothers killing each other, and blacks in prison. Can somebody listen? Selling crack, too much gangster rap. It's all a trap. It's all a trap. A lot to stress ya. High blood pressure, the downfall of BET. Can anybody hear me? Even worldwide with African genocide. Where's the love? Where's the pride? We went from hangings to gangbangings, selling dope to sell hoarding all the world. Lord, got a feeling we need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. Say hey, got a feeling. We need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. One more time, say say hey, got a feeling. We need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. We need some healing. I love my people, black people. 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 We need some healing. 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 We need some healing.
All right. Liberated Muse. Welcome to WPFW. Welcome to Live at 5.
Thank you for
Thank you
having
for
us.
coming.
Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you, first of all, the name, Liberated Muse. What inspired that name?
So, my name is Khadijah Ali Coleman, and I started Liberated Muse in 2008. Liberated Muse, the inspiration for the name, it actually was me trying to come up with band names in 2002. I had been part of a band and it didn't work out. And so
You wouldn't be the first and you're not going to be the last.
Exactly. We call it was so funny because we practiced, we rehearsed for like 11 months, had a performance, and then broke up. And so I was like, but I love the band experience. I loved the creation period with that band. And so I just started coming up with band names, and Liberated Muse was the one that I settled on. And so I was like, I'm going to start this band at the start of 2003. But at the start of 2003, I found out I was pregnant. And so that was the birth, the year that I had my daughter. And so I dedicated, my energy into being the best parent I could until like maybe 4 years later in 2008. I had just produced my first play in January of that year, and I decided that I was living in Baltimore at the time, and I wanted to move back to the DC area. And at the time, there were platforms to create social networks that were really popular in 2008. So I decided that I wanted to create a social network, and I did, called Liberated Muse. And so through Liberated Muse, people were able to, it was similar to MySpace, where people were able to join and share their music, or we had literary artists, we had visual artists. And at first I invited like friends of mine, but then I started noticing that more and more members were people that I didn't know because they were sharing with their friends. And so around the same time, a good friend of mine at the time, who was a fellow writer, I used to write for East of the River magazine that's part of Capital Community News, and he and I were arts writers for that publication, and he had just been assigned to cover some concerts in the area and was amazed with the talent that was here in the Washington, D.C. area. So together we came up with the idea to create a festival called the Capital Hip Hop Soul Fest. So that became the first event of Liberated Muse, and we started doing events until I just started wanting to produce my work, because that was the reason I wanted an artist network. And so on the network, or through the network, I met another young lady that's here, who's one of our core members of Liberated Muse, Angela, Anonymous Ballard. She was a participant in the Capital Hip Hop Soul Fest, but my partner actually went to college with her. So it's such a small world. Right. And then this lady next to me, her name is Coley Aziza, also known as Coley Williams. She and I had worked together as Andy Shalal's first, or not first, but one of his restaurants before Bus Boy and Poets was his restaurant called Mimi's. And so Coley and I had worked there.
Oh, like, is that right?
We're aging ourselves, but we worked there like a long time ago as hostesses. She and I, and so she actually was invited to be part of Liberated Muse, and that's how we reconnected through Liberated Muse online. And so that's a really long story to your one question.
I know.
About
no, actually, that's true. And I see that you're multi. You wear many different hats.
Yes.
So you're an actress,
yes,
or playwright, or
yes, all of that.
Actress, playwright, singer.
Yes.
What else?
I'm a filmmaker.
Filmmaker.
A poet.
6.
I'm a mommy.
7.
I write short fiction. 8. I'm an educator.
9.
I'm a graduate student too. I'm in a doctoral program.
10.
Yeah, and I'm a partner.
Wow.
I'm someone's woman, and he's my man. So, yes, Liberated Muse.
So obviously, well, I wouldn't say obviously, you have a social life, right?
I do. I do fun things. It may not, but this is social to me. See, the arts, that's why I'm heavily engaged in the arts, because it's all of that is social, it's healing, that's what we were just talking about. It feeds and it nurtures so much who I am intrinsically. So yeah, it's my social life. It's my social life. Creating is my social life.
I'd like for the audience to be able to hear the other voices, talking voices. I know you guys are singing and stuff, but like to hear the talking voices. I know she introduced you already, but would you mind introducing yourself?
Yes, my name is Coley Aziza, and I actually came to Liberated Muse. I did join online, but the time that I became really active was that I auditioned for one of Khadijah's plays.
Oh, wow.
And that was Running Amok.
That's right.
And
where was this play at? What was it shown?
That was at...
So it debuted...
Was it staged?
It debuted in the Capitol Fringe Fest, and that was the first season. But she came on as the lead character in 2010, and we toured it locally. It was at the Bonifant Theater that was formerly in downtown Silver Spring. We did the Corner Store. We did a lot of indie theaters here in DC and Germanos in Baltimore. So we kind of did a local tour of it. The Commission of the Arts, they had a program that brought us in because it was speaking about parenting. So, and the songs or the play itself is about the transition from being just an artist to being a parenting artist. So, yeah, it's been around.
Okay.
And so one of the things with Liberated Muse is that Khadijah had mentioned to you before we went on the air that we actually have all become really close friends because we work together so much, and we do many different things together within that art. And so we've become very close. We've become a sisterhood. Sisterin, this is my sisterin, but it also allows us to stretch as artists. And so we do theater, we do poetry. You guys started playing the djembes, you know. Angie started playing the bass, you know what I mean? So we just, you know, really have stretched.
Diversifying your music and stuff.
Yes.
So how many hats do you wear?
Ooh, okay.
I counted like 10 for her.
Well, no, I'm not as many as Khadijah. We always say that she inspired. She's like the inspiration. We're like, we trying to catch up. I'm actually a teacher as well. I teach pre-K students. I'm a songwriter. I'm a vocalist. I'm an actress as well.
Right.
Poet. I write poetry. I try to infuse it into my music. Activist. I consider myself an activist. I definitely use my art to speak out against injustice.
Well, I think we'll touch on that a little bit later.
Wait a minute.
Okay, go ahead. Please go ahead.
Wait a minute.
Okay, go ahead.
She
Go ahead.
just debuted a book. Right.
Oh my God!
Wow. Okay,
I forgot.
that's what you should be talking about. You know, if you just debuted a book and you're not talking about it, I mean, what's going on here?
I don't do well talking about. I really, you know, what I mean, I just, you know, you're just in it. You just do it, and so it's kind of like difficult to just. But I am a children's author, and it kind of.
They got your back, though.
Yeah, they do. That's why. See, I told you. But it's a book that I wrote really to teach my students about a concept that they were not understanding, because I've worked in early childhood for a really long time.
Right.
It's called Corey's Dreams, and they didn't understand when I talked to them about dreams as an aspiration. They didn't get that at all. They thought of dreams as literal dreams. I'm going to sleep. I'm having a dream, and I wanted them to begin to understand what it is and to begin having that for themselves. Even if it's just tomorrow I want to do such and such. It doesn't have to be even when I grow up. Right. Tomorrow I want to be able to do something that I wasn't able to do today, even if it's tie my shoe. But then we build on that, you know, and then we have children that are really looking at their future.
One thing I do know coming from Africa is that usually dreams, when you had a dream and you spoke to somebody about it, they would try to find some philosophical meaning. That's
my grandma, yeah.
Out of it. Is that the same thing, or that you're trying to teach the kids, or you know? Because the thing is, personally, I don't think it's something that you could kind of teach, but I could see in this society that there's certain things that people have to, remind themselves of their humanity.
Right. Well, it was really that they just didn't understand when I talked to them. I mean, actually, I was talking to them about Martin Luther King.
Okay.
And they just didn't get that they thought, oh yeah, he went to sleep and had a dream. I mean, he was using that metaphorically. I mean, they really didn't understand when I dream about being a doctor. You know, they didn't get that. And so I wrote the book so that they would begin to understand that. Okay. I wrote it a long time ago, and I finally was able to get an illustrator, Courtney Young, and it's doing very well. I'm very pleased.
Congratulations on
thank
that.
you for reminding me.
Congratulations on that.
Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. Corey's Dreams.
Okay.
Yes, definitely.
I keep looking at the time because I also, guys, I want you all to want our listeners to hear some music, a lot more music. So I try to balance it out. But I want to go through all the introductions here, and please introduce yourself.
My name is Anonymous. It's spelled A-non-A-mass. It's not spelled like the regular.
I was thinking about those guys with dark black hoods and
no.
I don't know, skeleton faces walking around. Okay.
So my name is Angela Ballard, but my stage name is Anonymous. I am a singer-songwriter, a health advocate, a healer. Not as many hats. I play with a couple of different bands, a Bangladesh project. I've worked with a group, hip-hop group, Ader Mas, of course, with Liberated Muse, and I'm also an independent artist. I'm learning to play the djembe drum, as they mentioned, and the bass guitar, and I also create alternative health products, shea butters, like natural products. Because
Okay.
I'm against being in the dark about things. Like a lot of things cause cancer, so I want to bring attention to the everyday products that we use that can contribute to that. So
Right.
I try to solve the problem by providing people an option of healthy products. So.
And you just
Great.
started a nonprofit.
And yes, thank you.
And then
I
you-
just started a nonprofit called Cancer Connection Resource Center, where we help people when they're going through chemo to get assistance, whether it's financial, nutrition, social work, transportation.
Okay, can you say that slowly again? And also
Sure.
give us a contact numbers for people who might be interested in finding out what that's all about.
Sure. So they can check the website. It's called CCRC4Me, the number 4me.org, and it's called Cancer Connection Resource Center.
Excellent. All right. Is that an email address or something? Or
That's
did
the
you-
website.
Oh, that's the
And they can
website.
get
Okay, great.
information from there.
Good enough. And you have some accompaniment here, right? And who's the gentleman here playing the guitar?
D.L. Watson,
D.L. Watson. You're a Washingtonian?
New York City.
Wow, you guys imported this guy. Huh?
I'm from
Oh,
New
you're
York.
from New York. Okay. You see, this is how the truth comes out, man. I mean, like, I have to dig deep to get some information.
I'm from DC. I'm from DC.
Oh, you're from D.C.
I'm from the Eastern Shore.
Okay,
but
so
I live in Baltimore.
oh, well, you might as well be from D.C. too. So it's like it's 2 and 2 here. Okay,
Yeah, we're
well,
both from the
I'll
Bronx.
take
We're
that.
from the Bronx.
The Bronx. All right. Well, welcome to WPFW. For those of you who are listening, you're listening to Liberated Muse. This is Live at 5. And I'm Frank Agbro, substituting for Katia Stitt. I know those of our fans and stuff wanted to hear a beautiful voice, but you get to hear this hoarse voice today, Monday, all right? But anyways, I'd like to say we're still, accepting donations and contributions to the station as we keep raising money to, do the things that we're supposed to do, like bringing you these beautiful ladies and the group, and this gentleman. I ain't gonna call you handsome because I gotta talk about I'm thinking about my reputation here. But anyway, I'm just joking. But anyways, I just want to say welcome to WPFW. You guys are gonna play some more music for us, right? And then we're gonna talk some more about music. All right? Thank you.
So I just wanted to do a little intro for this. This is, as I was talking with you earlier off air, Liberated Muse, and I think everyone kind of introduced that we're all solo artists in our own right.
Right.
And so we wanted to use this opportunity also to showcase our individual work as well as our collective work. And so this past, actually a week ago today, Coley had a show in Silver Spring at Vecinos. She's a jazz artist, a very prominent jazz musician artist in this area. She had a residency for 7 years on U Street. And she's performed, she was part of a theater company at the Kennedy Center. So I say all of this to hype you, Coley, because I am just always so excited that you are part of Liberated Muse.
Yeah.
I'm just so blessed that you're part of our crew. But she's going to present 2 songs that she performed last week.
Okay.
And I have to admit that these were a special requests for me.
Okay, great. So she's gonna do them back to back?
Yes.
Okay. Oh.
Okay.
Well, we can, just go ahead. Think.
You ready? Back now.
Hey, come along with me. Let your spirit run free along the old Black Nile. Hey, take my hand and see creation's plan along the old Black Nile. My ancestry and history is calling me. Come on, let's see. Hey, how it used to be. Hey, come along with me. Let your spirit run free along the old Black Nile. Hey, 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 come along with me. Let your spirit run
along the old Black Nile. My ancestry and history is calling me. Come on, let's see how it used to be. Hey, come along with me. Let your spirit run free along the old Black Nile. Black Nile, Black Nile, Black Nile, Black Nile.
Beautiful. Thank you very much. That's a nice song.
Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That was a cover, right?
Yeah.
That's a cover. It's a beautiful song still.
No,
She
it's
doesn't
awesome. I like hers better. But
Yeah.
I love that song. I
If
love
I'm not mistaken, that's Wayne Shorter, and that's I actually learned it listening to Gregory Porter because I'm a big fan of Gregory Porter, and didn't realize until I was in a grocery store one time that it wasn't Gregory Porter's tune because I heard the instrumental.
I didn't know that.
It's always amazing with that with music. Sometimes
Yes.
you hear a good version of a song,
Yeah.
and you think it's the original. I remember what's the song? Watchtower, Jimi Hendrix. And I thought he was the one when I was a kid. I thought he was the one that wrote that song.
Yeah.
But that song was written by Bob Dylan.
Oh, okay.
But it's two different songs.
Yeah.
I mean, in my opinion, and two different moods and stuff. But anyways,
Interpretations are something, aren't they?
it's
I love it.
It's great when it's done right. That's why I think sometimes when people decide to do other people's songs, you really want to do it either not really better, but like put a character to it.
Right.
And you don't see that too often. You see people just and it's I don't know, because I think that also talks about an artist's integrity, because you're picking a song for so many things, and you want to do right by the song,
Right.
Either that or just singing in the shower,
Well, see, we got some covers coming up, so we can't bash.
Yeah, just so you gotta edit here. You gotta be restrained in what you say, right?
Right. We talk about it later.
Yeah, but it's art at the same time. It's
Right,
art, and it's also
definitely,
relative too. It's also relative too. But the one question I want to ask you folks is, do you have any projects coming up?
Yes.
Are you guys playing anywhere anytime soon?
So, speaking to the fact that we are a multidisciplinary arts group, we do different things in addition to music and theater that we talked about. We actually, we've done a couple of short films, mainly comedic, but our first horror film will be presented tomorrow. We have a screening at Landmark's E Street Cinema.
Wow.
We're part. It's going to be presented as part of the 48-hour film project. And,
right. Okay.
And so, have you heard of that?
Oh yeah.
So that's the thing. So they have this. They decided to do a special genre component of that festival or whatever you want to call it.
Like
so
a horror movie.
Yeah,
okay.
so it's all horror movies that are being screened. They're short films, meaning that they're no longer they're at least 4 minutes and no longer than 7 minutes. And so our screening, so tomorrow is Halloween, so our screening is tomorrow at 9:15 at Landmark's East Street Cinema, so we're really excited about that. It's so interesting because our work has been characterized, and it's honest and it's intentional, that our work has been characterized as being very conscious or really focused on the affirmations of either women or just black people in general, people of the African diaspora. And there, in all of our art, there's something that's inherent about that. And so even with our horror movie, because someone was like, Dad, Khadija, you make everything radical and conscious. And so even with our horror movie, it's some historical bent to it. And it's something that will get you thinking, and I will admit that I was very inspired by the success of Get Out this year.
I was just going to bring
one
that
of
up,
my favorite movies ever, not just for this year. So I just encourage people to come out and support us, and you'll enjoy it. It won't just be our film that's being screened, but our film will be screened tomorrow at East Street. So I'm excited, to have a screening at Landmark's East Street Cinema.
Oh yeah, that is something to be said. There's something to be said about that.
Right.
That's a pretty a popular venue.
Yeah. So that's tomorrow, and this week is pretty busy. On Thursday and Friday. So I'm affiliated with the Graduate Student Association at Morgan State University. That's where I'm pursuing my doctoral studies. And this coming weekend is an initiative called the Baltimore Ceasefire, which was initiated in August. Angela was an active part of that. She's going to talk more about that. We consider ourselves representing Baltimore and DC, because all the members, I've gone to every school in Baltimore. I feel like I got my bachelor's from UMBC, I got my master's from Towson University, and I'm getting my doctorate from Morgan State University. So to be part of the Baltimore Ceasefire that's now taking place in November, the Graduate Student Association, in partnership with Liberated Muse, we're doing an activity, a 2-day activity called the Hoodie Living Memorial Walk. And so recognizing the trauma that people have been the trauma that has occurred where people are impacted, I think is less than 6 degrees of separation with, if it's not you, it's someone you know that's been impacted by gun violence.
Right.
The project isn't in... The intent is for people to be able to design the back of hoodies, because hoodies have become symbolic with a lot of our activism around violence in general towards black people or within our community. And on the back of hoodies, people will be able to design the impact, the trauma, as well as the triumph, how they've been able to triumph and continue to live despite the trauma of gun violence in their communities. And so that's going to be taking place on Thursday, and then on Friday, people are going to wear their hoodies, and we're going to walk through campus at Morgan State University. So if people are interested in participating, we would love to have people participate. They can reach us at info@liberatedmuse.com, and I can send more details in terms of location and when we're starting and all that good stuff.
Great. Can you repeat that again, the contact?
Info, INFO, @liberated.muse.com. That's LIBERATED, Muse, MUSE.com.
Okay. When you were talking about gun violence and the ceasefire thing in Baltimore, not too long ago, somebody showed me a video, and I was just like really short on his cell phone, and it was this Baltimore artist. For the life of me, I could not remember his name, a rapper. And his video was so graphic and so powerful. Do you guys happen to know this gentleman's name?
Oh, there's so many wonderful artists in Baltimore.
No, but the video was really something else. I was like, wow. And it was just really... I'll try to find it out and bring it up sometime so people will just...
You think it was Blessed?
It might have been. I'm not sure.
It started off like really... I think it started off, like on a crossroad or something like... on a street corner. That's where it kind of started out.
I think it is probably Blessed. What's his whole name?
Boy Bless?
Boy Bless, because he has a couple of videos out that are really good.
Yeah.
Because actually the ceasefire, one of the first times we were actively involved with my band Bangladesh, the first initiative was in August, as Khadija mentioned, and again they're doing it again in November. So it's just bringing attention to the gun violence, and it's needed. We have to change. We have to not be numb to it.
Right.
And that's the whole movement for the founder, which her name is Erica Bridgewood. She just did a TED Talks, and I'm so proud of what she's doing.
Oh, she did? Okay,
yes,
great.
She's an awesome advocate and a mediator. A lot of active people in the Baltimore community as well as Washington, D.C. have been active in the ceasefire and adding their own component or element as they can. Yes. I was fortunate to be able to do a song with the band I performed with, the Bangladesh Project. It's called... it's like a ceasefire anthem. They call it Vibrate Higher or Lift Your Vibrations Higher. And we just want to change the consciousness of people. And all we have is each other. So it starts with us. And that's just a touchstone, and we want it to spread because this is the same story that happens in a lot of cities.
Yes.
Right.
So we want to change the dynamic of it. We want to end it, and we can. So we hope this will be the seed that'll spread and more people will change their mindset against gun violence.
This sense might sound very simple to a lot of people, but how effective do you think your music is in affecting social change?
Well, just based on feedback that we've received from people, all of the feedback that we have is from people telling us how it makes them feel, how it makes them think, how it makes them aware, and just, I also have had people say that they start to feel things that they didn't know they were capable of feeling. Like, that was deep. And so I think that for any type of change, that's how it begins. It begins in our thoughts. It begins in our feelings. When we talk about empathy and having consciousness, it's really having an awareness and something being awakened. And I think that when people say, oh, you're just marching or you're just going and singing a song, they don't realize what Angie was talking about earlier, about vibrations, about energy, about changing people's consciousness. And it starts with igniting something in people that may have been dormant, may not have existed before. And I think that we have been a catalyst for, we've had a lot of artists be part of our collective, who have gone on to do other things, who are doing big things in the community, and who have told me that they have been inspired by the work that they've done with us. And so in different ways, not just people who have watched us audience-wise, but people who have actually worked with us. I think that we are making an impact conscious-wise, and that's the best that we can, we can hope for, I think.
For those of you who are just tuning in, you're listening to Liberated Muse. They're a great band from Washington, D.C., New York.
He says reluctantly.
New York, yeah.
We love the Bronx. And can we say we have a fourth member who's a regular core member. Her name is Lynn Artepe. She could not make it today because she works really far. But we representing for you, Lynn. We love you, girl.
What was her name again?
Her name is Lynn Artepe.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So at your future shows, we expect to see her, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right. Well, we look forward to it. You guys sound great. So you're going to do another song. I'd like for you folks to get as much music out there as
I think
possible.
Baltimore would be appropriate right now.
Okay.
Yes.
And before we do that, I just want to say, folks, we're still trying to collect some money. The station needs help, actually, to do things that we would like to do that we're not doing yet. We also would like to invite volunteers to come, like we were talking about, getting into all these different types of media. This is one avenue where kids can embellish their, resumes and their knowledge of things, and just, at least how. You may not use it as a career, but at least you have that knowledge. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and you also get to meet people too. They don't look like you and they don't act like you and stuff like that, and you got to deal with them. That's part of the workplace, and a lot of people are usually afraid of that kind of thing. They want to be in comfortable situations.
Are you all still offering the junk drive for $200 donation?
I believe so. I think you may want to talk to, I don't know, you may want to talk to Katia Stitt about that.
Because I am a proud sponsor of the station, and I got the junk drives.
Is that right?
Yes.
Great.
And I got 2 of them, and I am still...
I'm a sponsor as well.
Yes.
Okay, folks, did you hear that? They're sponsoring us, and, this is how the community works, right? They sponsor us. They come on the radio, we help them out, we spread the word and stuff. This is what a community radio station is supposed to be doing.
That's right.
And so we appreciate your support, those of you who have the means. We know we use those means for other things that we don't get anything back from, So what I do ask for you is to please call the station. The number is 202-588-9739 or 1-800-222-9739. Or just go to WPFWFM.org. More from Liberated Muse.
Beat up little seagull.
Beat up little seagull.
Beat up little seagull.
On a marble stair.
On a marble stair.
Trying to find the ocean.
Trying to find the ocean.
Looking everywhere.
Looking everywhere.
Hard times in the city.
Hard times in the city.
In a hot town by the sea.
In a hot town by the sea.
Ain't nowhere to run to.
Nowhere to run to.
And nothing ever free.
Nothing here for free.
Hooker on the corner. Waiting for the train.
Waiting for a train.
Drunk lying in the sidewalk.
Lying on the sidewalk.
Sleeping in the rain.
Sleeping in the rain.
And the people have their faces.
How their faces.
And they hide their eyes. They hide their eyes. 'Cause the city is dying.
City is dying.
And they don't know why.
They don't know why.
Oh, Baltimore, ain't it hard just to live? Oh, Baltimore, ain't it hard just to live, just to live?
All right, that's beautiful. Is that an original?
No.
That was Randy Newman.
Yeah.
But
It's
Randy Newman. It's Randy Newman. But Nina Simone made it popular.
Okay. Wow, that's you. You got something. You make it sound original. I mean,
Well, thank you.
don't blame me.
So we hope that it fell in the category of what you were saying earlier in terms of.
It did. That's what I'm talking about. You know.
That's why I was like, let's not bash yet,
I already can see that you all are artists of integrity, and you know, you could hear it. You know, and also in terms of the discussion that we've been having, very in-depth discussion. I hope people are not missing this, and even if they do miss it, you know, they can go to our archives on WPFWFM.org. Just go to Live at 5 and go to the archive shows and look at all the shows that have been taking place. And just listen to all the different conversations that are taking place. You know, about our communities. You know, and all, both the good and the bad. You know,
right.
So the next question I was going to ask you was, first of all, do you have a CD? I mean, it's like, well, I'm listening to you, I'm enjoying your music, but where can people get your music?
Thank you for asking that. So,
Yeah, you're welcome.
And we didn't prep him or anything to ask that. Well, you know, since January, and I'm the queen of promotion, but I think that when it comes to this, I have kind of slacked. And since January, we've been trying to crowdsource, because next year is our 10th anniversary. And so to commemorate our 10th anniversary, we wanted to have a compilation CD of some of our prominent work over the past 10 years, and primarily the last 5 years in particular. And so we have a couple of soundtracks out. We have a soundtrack for the play Running Amok that Coley mentioned earlier, that can be heard on Bandcamp. And Running Amok, I think it's runningamok.bandcamp, but you can just put Liberated Muse Running Amok and it should come up. And it's like easy to download. We have a soundtrack for our recent production. We debuted a piece called When We Were Goddesses this past summer in the Artscape Festival in Baltimore.
Okay.
Wonderful turnout. I think that's our most proud piece to date because it was very It involved Angie and I wrote the songs, but we all recorded together. It was just so much fun, and so that CD is people can purchase that CD. Go to our website, liberatedmuse.com, where they can also help support our CD, our compilation CD, which we'd like to release next year.
Right. And is it all going to be music with voices, or it's going to be a different, all kinds of different things going on?
Yes, it's going to be all kinds of things going on. So Lynn, who is not here, she is our she's our spoken word artist, mostly on our pieces when we're singing. Would have loved to have her here because we do a rendition of two of Maya Angelou's pieces, Phenomenal Woman and Still I Rise. We have done tribute shows to Maya Angelou and Ruby Dee. We've come here before, and it's a piece that I do. Calling All Women by Ruby Dee, but Lynn does phenomenal renditions of Maya Angelou's work, and she's also a writer and a poet. So some of her work is going to be on a compilation as preludes or as intermixed in songs that we do. We have a song that we have performed where Coley sings, Lynn does a spoken word, Angie plays the bass, and I play the djembe.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, we just have so much fun together. But one of our idols is Sweet Honey in a Rock.
Okay,
So
I can see that.
Yeah, we love them, and so they inspire us in terms of just really having bare vocals at times and doing things because we're very lyrically based, and we like people to hear what it is that we're saying. That sometimes can get lost in a lot of instrumentation.
Right. I was watching one of your videos on YouTube. At the African American Museum, was that what? Civil War Museum.
Yeah, we did.
Is that correct?
That's right. That's something we could. Reparations. Gil Scott Heron, who paid reparations for your soul. Yeah. That's another cover that we do. I forgot.
Well, good thing I brought that up.
Yeah.
You can send the check in the mail anyway. But one of the things that struck me was one of the. Before you all started singing, one of the ladies was talking about her either mother was killed in some kind of.
Oh, you're talking about at the Civil. That was me.
That was you.
That was me.
Okay.
Yeah. That was at a rally, so it was.
That was the rally.
The hashtag beyond the hashtag. So that was another organization. Oh my God! And MBUF.
Okay.
The National Black United Front. They sponsored that event, I think in partnership with another organization, and it was against police brutality.
Okay.
That was 2 summers ago, I think. Now.
So.
Yeah.
No, that was just last summer.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
It was.
It was.
Time
I
flies.
know.
Time flies.
flying.
Done so
Yeah,
much
yeah.
this
Time
year,
flies.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
And so that was you saying that.
Yes.
Do you want to talk about that a little bit, or you don't feel? You know what? If you don't feel comfortable talking about it, we can just move on.
I can just say that she is not that. That was. She was killed 3 years ago, and she was hit in her car when she was driving to be credentialed. She was a teacher, a math and science teacher, and so it's not what we think of police brutality. She was killed in her car by a police cadet who was sentenced in January, a young man. But just that triggered so much. She was killed exactly a week after the Mike Brown situation. So that month was very tumultuous personally,
right.
And just there's so many things that happen that you can get lost in calling attention to it because it's just so overwhelming and so constant. And that was the reason for bringing it up, saying your name, bringing attention to it, because especially if you're personally impacted by violence or just anything that evokes trauma, then it's so easy to for you to want some recognition and acknowledgement that people are not forgetting those who we've lost. Does that make sense?
No, it does make a lot of sense. I don't think any of these incidents are incidents that should be overlooked at all.
Right.
Unfortunately, they're happening so frequently that sometimes we can get numb to it. Which brings me to my next.
Can I just acknowledge my mother? Her birthday was yesterday, and her name was Karen Holt Williams.
May her soul rest in peace. And happy birthday. I mean, we're still
She would
celebrating
have been
birthdays.
63.
Is that right? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So, which brings me to the next question. How do we put all these things together, when, you have, in this era that we live in, people have very short attention spans. Okay? And we're, fighting these kinds of battles sometimes can be very, very challenging because people have, are preoccupied by other things, and we're facing, surround images, surround sound of constant things that it's hard for people to get away from that. Yeah. And just think about the habit of how we use our cell phones, for example. Right. You lose your cell phone, it's almost like you've lost your heart. Right. And that shows how addicted we are to these things, that I'm sort of concerned about the future generation, and my kids too, as to how we're able to interact and solve some of these social issues by listening to each other, not just like communicating, putting all these emojis and communicating feelings that way. You know what I mean?
So I get that a lot with the communication, because professionally, that's what I have my education in, is communication studies. So I've been a professor of communication studies. I love technology. I absolutely love it. And I am one of the few educators who I believe that we can actually use them as tools of instruction and have radical interactions with our students if, as an older generation, we can get away from demonizing technology in a way. Like, my daughter is right there. My daughter is here.
Hello. Hi.
And she's on her phone now. And so I'm homeschooling her, and technology is an important part of what it is, because, see, we are at a time educationally where our students that are coming to us are more technologically advanced than we are as educators. And so we need to understand that, we need to accept that, and we need to understand that it needs to be a shift in how we educate young people, where as they are co-facilitators in their education. And once we begin to make that shift, I think that we will have a very different approach and understanding and appreciation for the technology that exists now. Technology is rapidly growing and changing. And when you ask the question in terms of that attention span, what it is building skill-wise is an ability when it comes to decision making. When, for older people, deliberation, being slow, those things that were characterized in the past as being assets, with technology, the requirement is to be able to, and is building skills and making quick decisions, and quick decisions aren't always bad decisions. And that's why we're seeing a lot of the conflict intergenerationally between older and young, is because it's the skills that we're seeing that are unfamiliar to both. And so
that makes sense.
So I think when you talk about how can we make things sustainable, I look at the work that we do as Liberated Muse. I even call us and advertise us as being culture keepers, is because there is a component, and we're seeing it with Google Cloud, with archiving, this rise in archival. What is happening when we save these things? When we put in what is happening, and that right there is where, and I see industry going, and how we can connect generationally is we work with young people in the archiving process, how to visit and how to bring things back, that when things have been done, they're not done, it's a living document. I even refer to, I encourage my students to use Google Drive and have a shared document between them to document and to call it a living document, because it is steadily growing. And when you do that, you have something to go back to, rather than this throwaway culture that has been cultivated a lot with technology. So I think it really is going to require growth on both parts, older and younger, to really make some concessions and understand that different isn't necessarily bad.
I'll tell you, I mean, from a personal experience, I have to catch myself sometimes, because like if I'm reading a book or something like that, and there's a word I don't understand, my natural instinct is to go and look for a dictionary, And I'm too lazy to do that, and I keep forgetting. I can just do that on my phone. It's right there on the phone, It's how things have been made so easy. I mean, I'm just using it as an example, but it's a very, very small thing, but it's a thing that I see other people do, so I'm not alone. You know what I mean? I'm not alone.
Would you be surprised with how even people won't look up stuff?
Well, what does this mean?
You see it on social media, you ask a question. You are asking a question on the internet where you can Google that.
But it is, sometimes we gotta speak the truth for what it is.
Yes.
And I think once we identify things like that, for example, I mean, some people are probably like driving, going, that must be me. Because this is the way it is. I mean, but we have to identify these things for people to know the things that they could improve on, and how much consuming that cell phone or smartphone is. It can be.
It can be addiction.
You can waste time.
Yes.
Instead of doing things that you ought to be doing. So, like with everything else, my dad always says there's a time and a place for everything. I would never forget that. My late father, Peter Kinde, would say, Frank, there's a time and a place for everything. And that has always stuck with me. Okay, you don't try to mix apples and oranges, and you got to concentrate on what it is that you're doing to be able to go further and to progress. So, having said that, would you like to do another song for us?
Sure. What are we gonna do? Want me to start off with We Women and then you go into Afro Blue? Okay. So you ready for that? I'm gonna do a poem and then you all are gonna go right into Afro Blue. Okay.
All right, folks, you're listening to WPFW. This is Live at 5 on Monday. Katia is supposed to be here, but she will be back. I can guarantee you that she's going to be back. You want to hear that beautiful voice on Mondays and always whenever she's on. I just want to say thank you all for being here, and more from Liberated Muse, Live at 5. Thank you for listening.
We women, struggling to shrink our girth into sizes of 3 and 4 until the outside shape of our blossoming bodies become to be no more. We women of stature and majestic size seek to become model citizens in society's stiff eyes. And in anorexic spoutings, magazines clamor day to day to conform our sense of self and spirituality into a slimmer and more concise way. See, we are to believe that as our glorious bodies shrink, our self-esteem will gradually grow. But is this new psychology that's being fostered one that only magazine editors and ad execs know? Will our hearts and intelligence factors suddenly increase, or will we as women be recognized as equals rightly at least? Or with shameless swallows of Xanadrin and cocktails and calorie-counting behavior, will we ultimately become a motley assortment of women who inevitably need a male savior? Because regardless of our size, 5'9" with heels or petites barely 5 feet tall, we are not recognized for the greatness we embody as women at all. Downsized to visual trophies, we forget Nefertiti, Queen Nzinga, and Ida B. We scoff at the memory of Fannie Lou Hamer because Beyonce is all we see. Our minds are beginning to shrink to match our diminishing space and size until we women flourish no longer, left on to exist with downcast eyes and slimmer versions of ourselves, traipse happily along with jubilant stares and, of course, a slimmer pair of thighs. What our destiny shall be a surprise. What our destiny shall be a surprise. We women.
Dream of a land my soul is from. I hear a hand stroke on a drum. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Elegant boy, beautiful girl, dancing for joy, dancing a whirl. Shades of delight, cocoa hue. Rich as the night, Afro blue. Lovers face to face with undulating grace, gently sway and slip away to some secluded place. Shades of delight, cocoa hue, rich as the night, Afro blue.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you've been listening to Live at 5. This is Liberated Muse. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you all for being here. We really, truly appreciate it. We hope we'll have you back in the studio again when you start doing more things.